Namaste. Namaste. Welcome, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sadhana, and welcome to Kwanzaa Day 2. And again, immense gratitude to Queen Osset at Oya's Girl and Veronica Rose for providing this opportunity. This has just been so beautiful. And if you're not aware, this is a 7-day practice associated with the beautiful tradition of Kwanzaa. And Veronica Rose has created a tarot journal with 7 spreads for 7 days. And today is day 2. Habari Gani. And the response for today is Kujichagulia. And today we start to contemplate self-determination. And there's 7 aspects associated with the 7 spots in the spread, which I'll get to in a moment. At the end of Queen Osset's video on day 1, she asked a question. And the question was, what is your biggest hope for the future? That's a really big question. It's a really big question. And one of the things that, I'm going to draw a card just to confirm this, but one of the things that comes up for me often is that there is a world with no fear. And somehow fear, I also want to share with you something that came up at the end of, after the reading last time. So right now I feel this tension in my jaw. And it's almost as if what I wish were released is that the fear of, or something about freedom of speech, right? So there's no more fear to be authentic. That my greatest hope for the future is that every single soul and every single individual can be who they are and be proud of who they are and stand up for who they are and speak freely and speak in the tongue that they choose to speak in. That's my greatest hope. And if there was ever an oracle deck that spoke the truth, it would be Oracle of Echoes. It's one of my favorite oracle decks that I go to time and time again. And it's not an oracle deck that I would pull out if somebody needed a hug. It's a deck for seekers who want to speak the truth, who really want to understand and gain clarity. It's not for the light of heart, in my opinion. Courage. Love this image. The arrow, right? She's shooting an arrow. Yeah. My hope for the future, my greatest hope for the future is that everyone can have the courage, the inner strength to stand up for what they believe in. And that there will be no more cowering away or no more fear around fitting in or not being able to be me. Yeah. Okay. So interesting. Today, with the Kujichagulia focus theme, I started to think about decks where I see myself. And this might seem really odd, but I've always seen myself in Tarot of the Hidden Realm. I've seen myself in the fire of the Morrigan. I've seen myself in the warmth of the Queen of Wands. I've seen myself as the little girl that is being held by the King of Pentacles, or the little boy that holds the acorn. I've seen myself in so many places in this deck. And so I thought this was a really good deck today to explore the questions for the spread. And so today, I will light the black candle and the first red candle. And I don't have the proper stand for the candles, and so I've just placed a red candle to the right of the black candle. And so the first card today is the most prominent history I carry with me. So today we focus on the self and the things that inform me, the aspects that define myself. Really, really interested about the fourth position, which is my inner authentic name. And the seventh one, my highest aspiration. All right, so let's flip over to the other screen. And I will shuffle. Again, I find this is a very powerful deck, a very strong deck. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the nature, I think, the aspect of nature. And I imagine that during the 7 days, I'll also use the Druid Craft Tarot. It's another deck that I feel deeply connected to. Oh, and I also wanted to share with you what I was feeling after that last spread. So after that last spread, I had this real kind of ache in my heart. And what came up in that reading was really moving, really powerful for me. So who knows what's going to happen today. So today is 3 on the top, 4 on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the bottom. And I'll try to do this without too much editing. I know it's better if it just kind of flows. I'm actually kind of nervous about this today. I don't know why. Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia. All right. The most prominent history I carry with me. Aw. I love this card. Change. And I want to speak to the actual energy of the Dandelion. I also want to speak to the title of this card. But I think in general, what I carry with me is that we can all survive change. I've survived change. Big change, which I've spoken to a lot of my personal stories recently on my channel. And I think that history, I want that history to be that. And I have the cards from yesterday right here. This is so, like, I'm shaking right now. And I can feel the emotion arising. This whole 7 days, the power of these spreads, I can't express. So the 7th card yesterday was this one, was the Ace. And so I want to be a light. I want to be a light to give people courage to be with change and to know that change is okay, that you will survive the death. You will survive the divorce. You will survive the hurricane. You will come out on the other side. So many things I love about this card. And the dandelions and the whole idea that we can use the whole plant. We can use the roots. We can, the seeds create wishes, like that idea of the child blowing the dandelion spores. And so every part of the plant has a purpose. And the final part of the plant is the seed. And it's been used for making wishes. It's just so beautiful. So beautiful. The most prominent history I carry with me is the fortune fairy. Well, I've certainly been there many times. Carried 4 children to full cycle, and lots of other experiences with babies in my belly that didn't come into this world. Look at the peace. There's so much peace in her face and trust and connection with the earth. I see myself in this card. I see myself at many times in my life in this card, and I loved being pregnant. I loved that experience for the most part. And so the question, let's get to the question, the traditional foundations that inform me. Well, a couple of things. One is that we need to respect the natural cycles of the natural life cycle, the cycles of the earth. And I definitely see a connection between the first 2 cards. I was adopted as a newborn baby. And so there's a respect, there's something here. So it says traditional foundation that informed me. I don't know if that is tradition, but there's a pattern of that for sure in my family about giving babies up for adoption and having adopted children in the family. And so I know something about that. It's something I can speak to. It's an experience that I can share with people from different sides. Two of Pentacles. And so in the Two of Pentacles, this particular Fae is, I don't know if she or they are gazing beyond or at the flowers, but it's almost as if she's completely aware of the roots beneath the soil and how important those roots are. And I feel like that's what I was saying in this very first card, is that part of myself and my self-discovery and my journey with self is to understand the wholeness. And I think this harkens back to yesterday and yesterday's theme, Umoja. And I'm sorry if I screw up any of these words. They are new words to me, and I feel their energy. So this Two of Pentacles is understanding the importance of the roots. And isn't that interesting that it's a question of tradition? No. This was the tradition card. This one is how I primarily define myself. Wow. So there's so much connection here, because whole. So this is about wholeness again, right? So we have roots, we have the whole plant. Neither can live without the other. The flowers could not be this beautiful were it not for the strength of the roots. I define myself with this whole unity principle. And how I primarily define myself is through the practice of yoga and everything that I've learned through the yogic traditions. Whoa, that's really interesting. Okay, so number 4 is my inner authentic name. My inner authentic name is 9 of Cups. When I see that card, I think of so many things. It's beautiful. I see an offering. So I see my inner authentic name as one of giving. But this also speaks, Queen Aset, to the cup of unity. And that cup of unity, if we can think about it as something greater. And so how can we share that communion with others when we're not sharing the same physical space? And so it's my inner authentic name is about that. It's about that unity cup. It's about that sharing of that offering. And the Fae in that cup the Fae in that card is also receiving. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Well, I often refer to Harry Potter. In this particular card, I often see the now I'm going to draw a blank, but the big cauldron where they go in and they look to the memories. And so this unity cup, this cup in the 9 of Cups it reminds me of that. It reminds me of the importance of memories as well, too. The connection of memories. Interesting. Okay, next one. How I create for myself. When I see cards where the figure in the card looks to the heavens, looks upward, looks to God, and we have this crown, I feel so much trust in this. I feel trust when I see this card. I don't feel like a RWS meaning at all. What was the question? Sorry, I get distracted. How I create for myself. I create for myself by being inspired. I create for myself through trust. I create for myself through connecting with God, connecting with Shakti. It's almost as if those branches in her crown are little antennas to God. I also create for myself by creating with nature, like actually creating wreaths and creating things from twigs and shells and feathers and aspects of nature. So that's really something. Whew. This is kind of deep. How I speak for myself is the next one. I look deep. I look into the waters. I'm not afraid to go into the waters. And one of my happy places, one of the places where I connect most with spirit is when I am underwater, completely underwater. And I love to feel. It's hard for me to describe, but there's a density. There's a density that I feel when I'm in the water, like a connection with the earth and a connection. And I totally understand how this Fae feels in the water. And sometimes I feel alone, sometimes but most of all, I feel content. There's a yogic term, santosha. I feel santosha when I'm under the water, when I'm in the water. And I'm talking about the ocean. So the ocean is my happy place. How I speak for myself. How I speak for myself. Four of Cups. So this is a card of turning in, right? It's a card of going in. It's a card of emotion. It's a card of not. I see this Fae with these dolphins perhaps in the background as not being afraid to touch those darker places. And I speak for myself fearlessly, courageously, through emotion, and to understanding how emotional intelligence can inform us and make us more, can make us understand who we are better, and how we need to balance the emotional intelligence with the spiritual intelligence, with the intellect, right? So I speak through emotional intelligence. And the last card is my highest aspiration. My highest aspiration. Hope. My highest aspiration is the star. Not much to say there. My highest aspiration is that I will trust so completely. I will trust so completely and always see the beauty. I'm looking at the cards on the screen. They look so lovely. What a pretty picture. I want to even it up. Oh, my little perfectionist self wants, anyway, it's perfect, just like it is. So my highest aspiration is that I will always see the fairy dust. I will always see the light, even in those darkest corners. And in those darkest corners, when I'm with a friend or a stranger or a client or a homeless person, or wherever I am, or whether maybe I'm with I don't know, maybe I've turned a wrong corner in one of my forest walks, or I've fallen off a swing. I would need to share with you my swing story. Anyway, that's for another time. But wherever I am, I will find that light. I will find that hope and that trust. That's my highest aspiration. Wow. So Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia. Again, it's a lot. It's a lot to process. It's a lot to work with. My inner authentic name. My inner authentic name is the Holy Grail. My inner authentic name is the vessel. The vessel. My inner authentic name is the vessel. Much to contemplate. Okay, one more thing before I leave you. So I have seen Queen Osette's day 2 already. And she did add some more food for thought at the end of her video. And I forget the name of the deck that she was using, but it's a deck that has words on it. And the question was, what's your first impression of me? What's your first impression of me? And my first impression of Queen Osset was that she had found herself. And unashamedly, it was refreshing. It was refreshing to listen to a voice that didn't feel like it was trying to prove something, that it just was a voice. Her voice was her voice. Don't you ever find that, like, you're listening to somebody and it's like, why are they talking that way? Or why? I don't know, like, it's, for me, it's easy to pick up when people are uncomfortable. It's easy to pick up when people are, I don't know, like, talking a way that they're supposed to talk. Or anyway, my first impression of Queen Osette was that she had found her voice. So yeah, so thank you for these little extras, by the way, that you're putting at the end of your videos. It's really, really sweet. Should I pull a card for that? Or no, I think that's good. Yeah. All right. So I will leave you, and I will see you for Kwanzaa day 3 and the lighting of the first green candle. Namaste.